back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for subscribing to my channel. If you are new to this channel, this is the first time of you coming across Stylish Naija YouTube channel, I would appreciate if you hit on the subscribe button and then hit on the bell also to get an update whenever I upload a new video. Okay, so in today's video I'm going to be doing something like a sew along video. This is actually I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew a basic gown from the beginning to the end. So the first thing we're going to be doing, we're going to be cutting out the basic dress, and then these are some of this is the lining that I bought, so I'm going to be using this lining. And then I got an organza. This is 2 yards of organza that I'm going to use to mix the fabric. And then the fabric I'm using is actually a crepe fabric, so this is 2 yards also. So I'll just spread out my fabric and then I'll show you how we're going to cut the dress. Okay, so I fold out my fabric. So another thing that I forgot to tell you in this video, I'm going to be showing you a simple way to actually cut and sew a gown with full lining. So I'll show you how to line your gown fully. So for beginners, I don't know how to actually use lining to turn their dress. I'll show you in this video. So I folded out my fabric. These are the measurements that I'm using. The measurement, the bust is 34, the waist is 30, the hip is 36, and then the full length of our gown is 40. So I'll add 2 inches for allowance, so I'll make it for 42. So the way for you to fold your fabric is you use the biggest part of your measurement, which is the hip. So the hip is 36, you divide it into 4, and then you add about another 3 inches or 4 inches to it. So for this 36, when you divide into 4, you have 9 inches. So this is my 9 inches here. So I added about 1, 2, 3, 4 inches as my allowance. So you see I'm folding about 13. So my fabric is folded like about 13. That's the width. So the first thing you are going to do, so we're going to make a straight line here like this. So this line is going to be like our start line. So we'll cut the front first and then we'll use the front to cut the back. So you place your tape like this and then you mark. This is our 40 inches. This is our 42 inches plus the allowance. Okay, so you see our startup line. So I'm going to cut it out. And then I'll cut another piece for the back. Okay, so you see I've cut out 2 pieces. So this is the front piece and then this is the back piece. So my back piece is, I am using 1 inch bigger. So you see it is 1 inch bigger than the front piece. Why? Because we're going to be adding a zipper to the back of this dress. It is a straight gown. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to start inputting our measurements. Okay, so the way for you to arrange this gown that it will fit perfectly well, I'm going to show you how to put your basic line. So the first line I have here is the shoulder line. That's what we're going to use. And then from my shoulder to my under bust to her bust point, her bust point is 9 inches. So this is 9 inches for her bust point. She's a size small. So that's her bust point. And then the under bust, we're using 12 inches for the under bust. And then the waist, her waist is 17 inches. And then from this waist point, I'm going to add about 8 inches for her hip. So this is her hip line. So I hope you understand all of the lines that I'm imputing. And then we have the full length, which I showed you earlier. So I'm just going to put, so this is the full length of 42 plus the allowance. So I'll place like this. So now we're going to start imputing the measurement. The first measurement we're going to put now is our shoulder measurement. Her shoulder is 13, which is 6.5. So I'm going to place it like this. So I'll add 1 inch or half of an inch for stitching. So I'll just use 1. And then from this point, I'm going to mark her armhole. So for her armhole, I'm using 7.5 because I told you, I said she's a small size. So I'm using 7.5. So I'm just going to mark like this with my curve. So I'm just trying to as much so so I'll mark it like this. So the next measurement we're going to impute now is our bust measurement, which is 34. You divide 34 into 4. So you have 8.5. So I'll put it like this. And then I'm going to add an extra allowance of about, so I'll show you how to take it out when we're doing the final shaping. An extra allowance of about 2.5 inches or 3 inches. So I'll mark like this. I'll just curve it in like this. And then for her under bust, I'm using 30 inches, which is 7.5. I'll mark it like this. And then remember that same 3 inches that I added. So I'll mark the 3 inches on this point, and then I'll slant this like this, just to give me shape. And then the next measurement is our waist measurement. So for her waist, I'll use 32. When you divide 32 into 4, you have 8. So this is 8 inches. And then I'll still maintain my 3 inches allowance. So it's going to come like this. And then the next measurement is our hip measurement, which is 36. So you divide 36. For those of you that don't know how to do your calculation very well, you just take your tape like this. Since this is a beginner's video, that's why I'm doing this. You mark it like this. That's 8 inches, and then you place it like this again. So it is divided into 4. That is 9. You place it like this, 9. You mark the 9 inches like this, and then you know we're using 3 inches allowance, so you put the 3 inches like this, and then you make a curve. You can use your patterned curve, or you can just use your hand like this. Just navigate a curve, a beautiful curve like this, so you see how it is shaped. And then for the down part of my gown, what I'm going to do for the gown, since it is a straight gown, I don't want the down to be too wide. So what I'm going to do, I'll take my tape. So I've been doing this in most of my videos. I'll measure here. I have 12 inches, so I'm just going to reduce it. I'll bring this part to like 10 inches, or let me just reduce it by 1. I don't want it to be too tight. So from this point like this, I'll take my ruler like this, and then I will slant it into this point like this. Slant it in like this. So you see our gown, we are finished cutting. So I'm going to cut it, and then we'll cut out the neckline. So for this, I don't want to cut the back and the front the same. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to cut. I'll come in for the back piece. I'll just come in by half of an inch like this, and then I will cut. So note, I've not slanted my shoulder. And then for the front piece, that's when I will now cut my the line that I marked initially. So you see that the back piece is a little bit bigger now than the front. So, and then we'll cut the side of our dress now. So since this is a crepe, you can decide to add that, you can decide not to add that, but this I'm going to be adding because I know I have 3 inches allowance inside here. So I'm going to be taking about 1 inch for my dart. It's going to be a regular waist dart. So I'll show you how to do that when we come to the stitching part of the dress. So I've cut out right now. So the next thing we're going to cut out now is our neckline. So for the neckline, I'm just going to be doing a simple, basic, round neckline. I'm going to be adding a collar to it. I'll use my organza to create like a bow, a tie collar for the neckline of this dress. Okay, so we're going to cut out the neckline now. So for the neckline, what I'm going to I'm going to cut a basic neckline. We're going to be using our organza. I'm going to be using it to make something like a bow, like a high, like a collar for the neckline, but the collar is going to be tied to the back. So I'll show you that as we go along. So the first thing is just cut out your basic neckline. So for your basic neckline for a dress like this, we're going to be using 3 inches width. You come like this on this part like this, you mark your 3 inches. Here's your 3 inches width. And then the depth of the neckline, I'm going to be using 3 by 3. Yeah, yes, 3 by 3. So I'll mark it like this, and then I'll curve it out like this. That's for the front neckline. And then I'll come to this point like this. I will slant this point, and then I'll slant it into my neckline point like this. So I'll cut out the whole of this part to give me a shoulder slope. So I'm going to cut the slope first. And then for the back neckline is going to be high. So for the back neckline, I'm not going to be using 3 inches depth. I'll use 1. I'll just use 1 inch. So I'll mark it like this. See, I'm just trying to mark it, and then I'll use just 1 inch like this. So I'll cut out the back first, like this. And then I would cut out the front. So we are done. The next thing we're going to do now, so we're done with our, so the back, I'm going to open it up. The next thing we're going to do now, we're going to cut out the lining. So in cutting out the lining, you're just going to fold your lining. I actually did not want to make use of a white fabric for my lining, so that was why I got a cream color. So for the lining, you're going to take your fabric like this. I'll just turn it and show you how to fold. So I'm going to cut it out like this for the front, and then I'll do the same thing to the back, and then I'll show you how to reduce your lining so it does not sag when you put on your dress. So you see how it is. So I'll cut this out. So I'll cut out the back also. Okay, so you see I've cut out the back lining also. This is the back, the front, and then this is the front piece. So that's what I want to use to measure out my lining. That's the way I'm going to cut it. So what I'm going to do now, this is the length of my gown. So I'm going to come into my lining. I'm going to reduce from the length of my gown. I'm going to reduce it by 1 inch. So you just reduce it by 1 inch, your lining, and then you cut out. So for this dress, we're just going to be doing the regular lining and pattern. I'm not going to be doing the inseam, so I'm going to show you. It's very simple for beginners. This is like the simplest way for you to sew a perfect dress, and then at the end it's still going to be neat, clean. So now the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to go and start stitching. So that we're not going to be doing in this video. If not, the video is going to be too long. So in the next video, I'll show you how to start coupling this dress together. So thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.